Hello and welcome to the CX Files podcast. I'm your host, Mark Hillary. VXI Global Solutions is a global leader in customer care based in Los Angeles, California. With 43 global locations from the West Coast US to the Philippines and over 35,000 employees, they're a major player in designing CX solutions. They work across a number of industries, including automotive, finance, retail, government, and travel. I'm pleased to invite Neil Ray onto the podcast this week. Neil is the Chief Customer Officer at VXI, and I know that he's got some interesting ideas on how automation, in particular RPA, Robotic Process Automation, can improve the brand-to-customer relationship. Neil's based in Toronto, Canada. Okay, let's go straight to the interview with Neil Ray. Okay, Neil, normally when I talk to a company like VXI about robotic process automation, I'm asking what you're doing with your clients and what the clients are asking for. But I was searching online just to do some research about what you've been doing in this area. And I found that you've used RPA extensively inside the company to improve your own recruitment process. Could you maybe just talk about that project, just to kick off the conversation, please?
Yeah, no, certainly. So we, DXI, and really just myself as a leader within the organization, we embrace really two different dimensions. We think about the employee experience and the customer experience. And that really is sort of the center of our thinking and our planning. And if we look at RPA and the opportunity with the RPA, you'll hear me reference inside out and outside in. And when we look at the employee experience as it related to recruiting, in particular in an offshore marketplace, we felt that there was an opportunity to respect the employee's time more, the candidate's time more. And so we began to explore different opportunities to apply automation, to look at the introducing bots in order to enhance that candidate experience, to respect their time. We felt that by respecting their time and driving some efficiency in the recruiting process, we felt it would reflect well upon the organization and provide a level of professionalism that just allowed a much more seamless candidate experience. So we did apply a bot through our candidate experience. It just allows the candidate to submit in a sort of an applicant tracking system methodology and manage and respond accordingly to some questions that allows us to upload that in our ATS system and then ultimately ends up to scheduling an appointment for that candidate. So in particular, in an offshore position, it allows for significant reduction in that candidate's time, whether it be related to traffic or even just in person as they're applying for the organization. So it's something, again, that we really embrace and lean into in order to enhance that overall employer candidate experience.
Well, that's great. I mean, clearly you've embraced RPA internally then. Are your clients actually asking for more advice? I mean, is it more common that they're asking for help with RPA? Because, I mean, it's only recently that some of the analysts stopped calling it hype.
Yeah, I think it is a very interesting conversation point. I think our customers look to us as the experienced tip of the spear for that industry leaders. Automation in general is something that North Star, that Nirvana, that individuals are looking to identify where there are opportunities to drive efficiencies and ultimately cost savings in the business. So it does come up in many conversations. Ultimately, it's really something that we're now very proactively bringing up in discussions, just the approach that we're taking in the business. As I referenced earlier, you do look at automation we look at automation in two different dimensions, inside out and outside in. And we try and help hold the hand or sort of a consultative approach with our customers where we guide them on the journey to explain the tactical application of automation, both from the lens of the customer in order to enhance that customer experience, or are there automation opportunities internally to drive efficiencies within the business that actually improves the employee experience, which we can then co-invest to have a better interaction, a more genuine interaction with the customer. So that interrelationship of the employee experience and the customer experience and overlaying automation is something that is very strategic, very critical, and it's something that we're very proud to have this consultative conversation with our customers. And our customers appreciate the tactical approach to it because rather than being hype, as you referenced, it is very real, but it can at times be very challenging to understand, well, how do you operationalize it? How do you apply it? And this is something that we take a lot of time walking through those two different dimensions of thinking about where we can drive efficiencies internally, enhancing the employee experience, unleashing some financial savings for our customers, but then also what it means outside in automation and the application of bots. So as you referenced, the bots that we did put in place in the recruiting process.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, what are the most common sort of solutions that the clients are asking for then? And maybe also the most common type of questions that they come up with?
Well, automation in general, just in conversations, a lot of individuals think about automation outside in. So they think about the application of bots in order to drive call deflection or the integration with a knowledge base, where before you have a transition through to a live agent, how can we look at automating a lot of those generally called level 0, level 1 type inquiries? So that's where the initial conversations always seem to fall. And I think I give a tremendous amount of credit to marketing organizations where, bots have become a very, very common discussion item. They're well marketed. I wouldn't call them hype because there certainly is a significant business opportunity with the applications of bots and automation from the lens of a consumer coming into a business. But I think there needs to be a little bit more runway in terms of the effectiveness of how those bots learn and how they become more effective and more efficient and more intelligent in order to be more effective in terms of that call deflection. Again, we've really leaned in and we guide the conversation to more about the employee experience. And so our approach has actually been more dominated by how can we look at automating our employees day in and day out? How can we then reduce processing time, not only to provide financial savings back to our customers, but as I mentioned, to enhance that employee experience, allowing our agents to have a more genuine conversation, to build empathy, to build rapport, to build a more genuine connection with consumers, that you can share the benefit. You can share the benefit both with shareholders or our end customers in terms of financial savings, but you can also share that benefit with customers by having a much more genuine interaction, a much more pleasant interaction, a much more effortless interaction, which ultimately we feel will help enhance first call resolution and improve the overall customer experience. So that's really where we take the conversation, and it ends up being, I think, a very intriguing conversation, because then you move into journey mapping, you move into process mapping, and you start evaluating what is the agent desktop and what are some of the obstacles that our employees are experiencing, and how we can then apply automation in order to unleash some of the benefits.
Yeah, that's an interesting point about augmentation as well there, because quite often in the business press we see photographs of robots and the conversation is around how many humans you can replace by automating the processes. But it seems that what you're saying is actually it's much more to do with how you blend and improve what the humans can do through augmenting their processes with technology.
That's exactly it. It's our goal, our mandate, and that really is, I'll call it the threat of automation in the industry. You have two ways of approaching it. One, we can become an ostrich and ignore it and hope it goes away. And our opinion as an organization at VXI is we embrace it. It's not going to go away. It's something that we need to understand. We need to understand how to operationalize it. Our view is it's not going to replace the employee. To your point, it will augment that employee. It will enhance that employee. And our strategic position is it's not a function of just reducing overall costs and reducing their overall headcount. Certainly there is a benefit and an opportunity there, but we challenge individuals to think about that enhancement, that reduction in processing time, and invest it back into the customer experience. How can you make that interaction from a teammate, from a frontline associate, more genuine with a customer? And if you look at the application of automation in a complex agent environment, if you can allow bots to manage some of those simple interactions, it allows the frontline associate to listen more, to understand, to empathize, which we feel, again, has some significant and material benefits to the business and our customers.
And will that team be looking at some more internal uses of RPA as well in future? I mean, you mentioned agent experience as an option.
Yeah, it's a fabulous question. So definitely, automation is something that we always think into the market and leveraging and building off of our partnerships with our end customers. But we have internal clients, we have internal customers, and there certainly are opportunities to apply automation. So yes, that team has a stream. To put it in a percentage basis, I would say they're 80% focused in on our customers and enhancing those relationships and that consultative approach with our end customers. And then the remaining time is spent internally, looking at workforce, looking at quality, looking at our HR organization and identifying opportunities where we can apply automation. And again, yes, this is going to release some financial savings to the business, but from our standpoint, it's about having an improved employee customer experience internally. So it's not, our mandate isn't just to unleash reduction and reduce heads and drive efficiencies. It's about making the day-to-day interactions with our internal stakeholders more effective.
Yeah. I mean, and then, so just finally then, if we're looking at the year ahead for RPA in general, I mean, it's clearly starting to be accepted. There's more and more use cases actually out there. What's coming next, in your opinion?
I think we crawl, walk, run, as an industry into this, and I think you'll start to see some more refinement. There'll be some more discoveries and learnings in terms of how it's operationalized. I think there's going to be some creative thinking around commercial application of automation, in particular in the third-party outsourcing space that we work in. How do you share in that benefit? I think some of the fear from automation and just in our space is the risk to revenue. And again, we've intentionally leaned into this, and our view is certainly there is a potential risk in overall revenue, but our view is that there's more significant opportunity to have an enhanced employee and customer experience that ultimately, through creative commercial application, is going to lead to a very good place. And I think it's going to challenge partners that will move into two streams, whether it be a transactional commodity partner or you're a value creation partner. And we see ourselves at VXI really exploring any application, whether it be automation, whether it be our learning suite of services, to enhance that employee experience, to be the value creator, to be that value partner for our customers. But I think we're just starting. We're starting on this journey, and we're moving from the crawl into the walk. And I'm excited to see what happens as we move from the walk into the run.
Thanks for listening to the CX Files podcast. Please take a moment to review the podcast because this helps other listeners to find it. And if you have any suggestions, then get in touch with me on Twitter or LinkedIn. I'm @Mark Hillary with 2 L's, or just search Google for Mark Hillary.